The person you're about to let go of might be the very answer to every prayer you've whispered in the dark. God is speaking directly to you right now, and what he's revealing will shake everything you thought you knew about this relationship. Before you make a decision you can't undo, before you walk away from what could be divinely orchestrated, you need to hear this prophetic word. The enemy has been working overtime to convince you that this love isn't real, that it's too complicated, that you deserve better or different. But what if the struggle you're experiencing isn't a sign to leave, but a sign that something precious is worth fighting for? What if God himself sent this person into your life, and the very challenges you're facing are designed to prepare both of you for the extraordinary purpose he has planned? Welcome to God's Prophecy Message channel, where heaven speaks directly into your situation. I'm so glad you're here, and if this is your first time joining us, please hit that subscribe button and turn on your notifications, because God has specific messages for specific seasons in your life, and you don't want to miss what he's saying to you. For those of you who have been faithfully walking with us on this journey, your presence here is not coincidental. The Holy Spirit led you to this message at this exact moment because there's a divine intervention happening in your love life right now. If you feel led to support this ministry and help us continue spreading these prophetic messages, you can click the Super Thanks button below this video or visit our Buy Me a Coffee link in the description. Your seed sows into the spiritual lives of thousands who need to hear from heaven. Right now, I need you to type in the comments, "I receive." Don't just watch passively. Your faith declaration activates the prophetic word being released over your life. Type "I receive" if you're ready to hear what God is saying about this relationship that you've been questioning. Your agreement with heaven matters. There's a spiritual battle raging over your relationship right now, and most people don't even recognize it. You've been feeling confused, uncertain, questioning whether this person is really from God or if you've made a mistake. You've been replaying conversations in your mind, analyzing their behavior, wondering if you're holding on to something you should release. The exhaustion you feel isn't just emotional tiredness. It's spiritual warfare designed to separate you from a divine assignment, disguised as a romantic relationship. The enemy knows something about this union that you haven't fully grasped yet, and his primary strategy has been to flood your mind with doubt, comparison, and fear. Listen carefully to what Ephesians chapter 6 verse 12 tells us. "For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places." Your struggle isn't really with this person. Your battle isn't about their imperfections or the obstacles you're facing. You're in a spiritual wrestling match because there's something significant about what God is building through this relationship. The magnitude of the attack often reveals the magnitude of the blessing. The enemy doesn't waste ammunition on meaningless connections. He reserves his most aggressive strategies for relationships that carry kingdom purpose. God spoke to me specifically about someone watching this right now. You've been in prayer about this relationship for weeks, maybe months. You've asked God for clear signs, for confirmation, for peace, and instead of immediate clarity, you've experienced increased confusion. Instead of smooth sailing, you've encountered more obstacles. You interpreted this as God's no, as a divine redirection away from this person. But what if you've been reading the signs incorrectly? What if the resistance you're experiencing is actually confirmation that you're moving in the right direction, and the enemy is trying to stop you before you reach the breakthrough? Think about the children of Israel at the Red Sea. They had followed God's clear leading out of Egypt. They had watched him perform miracle after miracle. Yet when they reached the sea with Pharaoh's army approaching from behind, it looked like they had made a terrible mistake. It appeared that following God's direction had led them to a dead end, to certain destruction. In that moment, if they had judged their situation by what they could see, they would have turned back, convinced they had misheard God. But that impossible situation was actually the setup for one of the greatest miracles in biblical history. The very obstacle that seemed to prove they were wrong became the stage for God's power to be displayed. Your relationship might feel like that right now. You're standing at your Red Sea moment. Behind you are all the prayers you've prayed, the confirmations you've received, the moments when you knew with certainty that God had orchestrated this connection. In front of you is an obstacle that seems impossible, a situation that appears to contradict everything you believed God said. And the enemy is whispering that you misheard, that you were foolish to believe, that you should turn back before you get hurt worse. But God is saying, stand still and see the salvation of the Lord. Proverbs chapter 3 verses 5 and 6 instructs us, trust in the Lord with all thine heart, and lean not unto thine own understanding. In all thy ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct thy paths. Notice it says, don't lean on your own understanding. Your logical mind, your past experiences, your fear of being hurt again, your analysis of this person's flaws, your comparison of this relationship to what you expected, none of that is reliable guidance right now. Your understanding is limited. You're seeing a small piece of a massive picture that God is painting. When you trust only what makes sense to you, you'll walk away from miracles that require faith. God told me to tell you specifically that this person you're considering releasing carries a piece of your destiny. I'm not talking about soulmate romanticism or codependent thinking. I'm talking about divine orchestration, where God strategically brings two people together because their union serves a purpose larger than their individual lives. You've been so focused on whether this person makes you happy, whether they meet your list of requirements, whether the relationship feels easy, that you've missed the prophetic significance of this connection. This isn't just about finding someone to share your life with. This is about two puzzle pieces that were specifically cut to fit together to complete a picture that reveals God's glory. There are relationships that are nice, comfortable, compatible, and then there are relationships that are assigned, ordained, purposed by heaven. The difference is that assigned relationships will face disproportionate warfare. They will require levels of faith, forgiveness, patience, and perseverance that social relationships don't demand. They will push you to become someone you weren't before you met this person. They will challenge everything you thought you wanted and reveal what you actually need. And in the process of fighting for them, you'll discover strength you didn't know you possessed and purpose you hadn't yet recognized. Isaiah chapter 43 verse 19 says, behold, I will do a new thing. Now it shall spring forth. Shall ye not know it? I will even make a way in the wilderness and rivers in the desert. God is doing something new in your love life, something that doesn't look like your past experiences or your parents' relationship or what you see on social media. He's making a way where there appears to be no way. But if you walk away during the wilderness season, you'll miss the rivers that are about to spring forth in the desert. The dry, difficult season you're experiencing right now is not the final chapter. It's the preparation for the supernatural breakthrough that's coming. You need to understand something crucial about divine relationships. They rarely start easy. Abraham and Sarah waited decades for their promised child. Jacob worked 14 years for Rachel. Ruth had to go through the death of her husband and severe poverty before she met Boaz. Joseph had to endure slavery and prison before he was positioned to meet his wife and fulfill his purpose. The biblical pattern shows us that God-ordained relationships often come through seasons of testing, waiting, and seeming impossibility. The difficulty isn't evidence that it's wrong. The difficulty is evidence that it's significant enough for God to develop you through the process. Right now, take a moment and hit that like button if this message is speaking directly to your situation. Your engagement helps this prophetic word reach others who are also being tempted to give up on God-sent relationships. And make sure you're subscribed to God's Prophecy Message channel, because these aren't just motivational messages. These are divinely timed words for specific seasons. The person God sent you is not perfect. Let me say that again, because this is where many believers get confused. The person God sent you is not perfect. They have flaws, weaknesses, areas where they need to grow. They might not communicate the way you wish they would. They might not express love in your preferred language. They might come with baggage, complications, past wounds that affect how they show up in the relationship. But here's what you need to understand. God doesn't send you a finished product. He sends you a person with whom you'll both be refined, transformed, and prepared for the assignment he has for your lives together. 1 Corinthians chapter 1 verse 27 tells us, "But God hath chosen the foolish things of the world to